Good evening, everyone. Severe, the Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Sean joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. And coming up, we're going to be talking about those road conditions, which drastically improved into this afternoon, but we'll still have to watch. Didn't get enough wind speeds going throughout this afternoon to help really dry out those roads. So with some lingering water on these roads, we can see that water refreeze, so we could deal with some areas of ice. Not anticipated to be a widespread issue, but just something we can see in spots as we do extend into tomorrow morning. So still use some caution. Again, we are not dealing with widespread hazardous road conditions like what we dealt with for this morning, tomorrow morning, but some slick spots can remain. We can see them redevelop overnight as, again, the lingering water on roads can refreeze. Watch bridges, overpasses, be first to freeze here early on tonight. And again, this can be an issue we see into tomorrow morning. Now, some sunshine in combination with a slight breeze. Wind gusts are likely upwards about 20 miles per hour. Not real windy, but that increase in wind speeds, a little bit of sun can help further dry out these roads as we go throughout tomorrow. Likely less of a concern into tomorrow night. However, by Thursday morning, we're tracking our next round of snow. So while into Wednesday night, the risk for slick spots will likely subside. We can deal with some more slippery road conditions Thursday morning with our next round of snow. So we're going to be mapping that out, of course, coming up on this edition of Nate at 8. I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the issue with refreezing tonight, well, our temperatures are dropping further in the 20s. And when these temperatures start to fall well into the 20s into tomorrow morning, the salt crews have placed down starts to become less effective. And again, we can see some areas of ice develop. Not anticipated to be widespread concern, but watch, of course, bridges, overpasses, a lot of these side roads. Just still use some caution into tomorrow morning. That, yes, the roads were just wet for a lot of the roads were wet going into this afternoon, but of course the issue can arise when that water can refreeze overnight. In terms of how much snow we saw, well, these are some of the highest amounts coming in, up to 5 inches of snow measured New Manchester. New, a lot of us were a little bit below that threshold, closer to 3 to 4 inches. We did have some measurements below 3 inches, so the range was generally about 2 to 5 inches was the range across the area that we saw for our snowfall totals. Again, a lot of us were above 2, closer to 3+ inches, around 3 to 4, where a lot of us ended up with that snowfall going through the course of last night into this morning. And of course, the issue was more so the timing than the amounts, right? With this leading right into the morning commute, just saw some hazardous road conditions for this morning before that drastic improvement into the afternoon. And again, still watch for some slick spots going into tomorrow morning. There's some flurries around, not anticipating any additional snow accumulations. These flurries here early on tonight likely taper off into tomorrow morning. Then we likely not dealing with anything as we extend into tomorrow morning. Just cloudy skies, those cold lows well into the 20s. Now, as we go throughout Wednesday, again, we can spot at least a little bit of sunshine going into the afternoon hours tomorrow. Highs mid-lower 30s, a little bit of a breeze, wind gusts up to about 20 miles per hour. Any clearing we do get is short-lived, though. We're back to cloudy skies out ahead of a cold front passage into Thursday morning. And with this cold front passage, yes, we are anticipating some snow. Now, it's nothing like what we just saw for this morning. Not nearly as much snow is coming our way. However, the timing can be similar. And that's the unfortunate part. The timing being similar right into the morning commute likely yields more travel issues for Thursday morning's commute, because we'll likely see the snow return after midnight Thursday night into Thursday morning. Notice it leads right into the morning commute, the heart of that snow over us into the morning commute. And just shortly after the morning commute, much like this morning, it tapers off. So by late Thursday morning, we're likely drying back up. And from here, temperatures plummet behind this cold front passage. In fact, by Thursday evening, our temperatures are likely into the teens. And yes, we are getting close to the single digits by Friday morning. The combination of clearing skies, calming winds, snow cover, dry air, all goes into allowing our temperatures to really drop off, and good odds that we can deal with even some record lows for Friday morning. So that's the two things to watch for. Again, Thursday morning, travel issues with another round of some snow. Friday morning, a frigid start to the day. Again, some record lows likely coming our way on Friday. So how much snow can we get this time around? Well, not nearly as much. At least getting that trace of snow, obviously, with the round of snow showers. A lot of us are likely up to an inch of snow going into Thursday morning. And again, not much, but it doesn't take much. It does not take much to cause some of those slippery road conditions. Are they as hazardous as this morning? Likely not, but are they slick? Yes. Anticipated again to deal with issues for Thursday morning's commute. Now, at most, some of us could get up to 2 inches in some locations, but the amounts are likely within more of that coating to an inch. Again, not near as much snow as what we dealt with for this morning ahead for Thursday morning, but still enough where we get that light accumulation to cause some more travel issues. So our road conditions, to sum it up for you again tonight, I don't, want to not emphasize the fact that even tonight into tomorrow morning, we could still have some slick spots, watch bridges, overpasses, side roads, especially that we can see some refreezing. We can get some patches of ice developing on these roads. Still want to use caution into tomorrow morning. Likely then a big improvement then from any slick spots, even late morning, but we could see those roads actually dry out tomorrow with a wind, some sun breaking out. Less of an issue than I think for slick spots into tomorrow night. Of course, then by Thursday morning, though, we're dealing with more slippery road conditions. So again, I don't think it's as hazardous as what we had for this morning, or getting out of that hazardous category like what we had this morning. But slippery, yes, and still anticipating some slippery road conditions. Still likely want to allow yourself extra time to get to your destination Thursday morning, as we are likely going to be dealing with some travel delays again Thursday morning. And yes, potentially more school delays, cancellations coming Thursday morning as well. Just the bad timing again, not so much the amount, just the timing of it is going to be the biggest issue into Thursday morning. And even by Thursday afternoon, some slick spots could linger, as again, temperatures are really dropping off 20s to teens by Thursday evening, and then on our way closer to the single digits by Friday morning. And again, that is going to be Friday morning, very cold for this time of the year, well in the teens. Again, I could see some of us into the single digits, but well in the teens regardless. And that record low is in jeopardy of 12 degrees that was set in 1976. So we go from another round of some snow showers for Thursday morning to some near, if not record lows by Friday morning. Now, once we get past this Friday morning, it's not as cold as we do get into the weekend. Our low temperatures, in fact, are likely even back into the 20s. So it's not as cold by the time the weekend rolls around. You see lows generally close to about the mid 20s, a lot more cloud cover. It's a pretty dreary, cloudy weekend, but that does help those overnight lows stay afloat, if you will, around the mid 20s. So it's not as cold by Saturday, Sunday morning as it is going to be for Friday morning, with the clearing that we'll have in place into Friday morning. And the additional cloud cover acts much like a blanket and helps keep those overnight lows warmer and into the following morning. And dreary weekend, but not a great chance of precipitation. A slight chance at most. I think we have good odds we're staying dry Friday through the weekend, and really past Thursday morning. When's the next time to watch? That looks to be for Tuesday of next week. So we'll likely see another system move through into the early part of next week that can deliver some additional snow showers, and next week can be fairly unsettled. We can deal with a series of systems again next week. Precipitation type could be a little more in question, although we don't look to be real warm, but we could be just warm enough for some of those systems next week, where precipitation type could be more in question, something we'll keep an eye on. But as it stands now, at least looking ahead over the next 7 days into next Tuesday, that would be the next time to watch. So Thursday morning, again, for more snow showers, and likely early next week into Tuesday of next week for that another round of some snow showers that we can see. That's what we're watching, looking ahead here over the next 7 days in your 9+1 day forecast. And winter proving to be very front loaded here. Do not foresee a warm up coming our way. And good odds as well. I think coming up for that white Christmas, and then statistically, over the past 30 years, a cold December equates to a roughly 64% chance of a white Christmas. And I think, great odds that this December goes down as cold overall. And as we're just not anticipating any kind of big warm up ahead for this month, looking ahead into the latter part of this month in that long range forecast, not anticipating a big warm up. John, good afternoon. Joining us from Hawaii. Some folks tuning in here, John, I think jealous, wishing they wishing they were in Hawaii right now. Asta, good evening. The morning felt magical. Got to watch it snow. Went out and measured 3 inches of snow this morning. I'm praying for White Christmas Day or White Christmas Eve. And again, Austin, the statistics favor us for these cold Decembers. So we've got a little better odds than a coin flip, so a little over 60%. Not bad odds, not bad odds. More likely than not, you could think of it that way too, for a White Christmas. Hopefully it does come to fruition. And I think the snow that we have in place right now doesn't look, a lot of this, likely don't see too much melting in this. So, this could stick around for some time looking ahead to the next week. So hopefully if we maintain enough of this snow cover that we can, have a White Christmas, even though we may not get the snowfall on Christmas Day. See if we can at least keep that inch or more snow depth on the ground to make it a white Christmas. Carol says, great. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Thanks for tuning in. Glad I live in South Carolina. David says, I'm done with the snow. I'm glad I live in South Carolina. Not a fan of the snow there, David. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of us were not a fan of it this morning. Those roads were rough. Hopefully everyone had stayed safe. It's just not good conditions at all this morning across the area. And again, crews were out in full force. It was just that situation with the timing and those snowfall rates up to an inch an hour that, crews are getting out and treating a road and it's just getting covered back up right into the morning commute. That's why I said, a lot of us likely did see that the roads were snow covered for this morning. And it's, crews are out, just trying to keep up with it on main roads, let alone the side roads. And it's just a bad timing, it's just bad timing. If we had this, several hours earlier where it tapered off before the morning commute, crews could get out and, not keeping up with it then, it's done. So they can get out and treat the roads and they'd be a lot better. But it's just the bad timing. And again, that's the unfortunate part with Thursday as well, that the snow can be falling into the morning commute. So it's going to be a similar situation where, it's falling right before the morning commute. So crews will get out. Now, crews, better odds to keep up with it, right? We're not having this high snowfall rates for Thursday morning. So, crews can get out and keep up with the snow. That's why I don't anticipate road conditions to be as bad Thursday morning. And we'll take it out of that category of hazardous, like what we had this morning, and put it to just slippery. So just, slick roads, but not hazardous. If you think of it that way, it's likely not quite as bad Thursday morning, but still nonetheless, it's going to be a situation where at least some of these side roads likely are going to be slick, and you want to use some caution when traveling again Thursday morning. And not a bad idea, again, to allow yourself some extra time to get to your destination. Trisha says, sure bait for a bunch of happy kids. Oh yeah, we got a lot of great pictures chimed in as well of snowmen. I shared some on my Facebook page, Nathan Shutt News 9. Looked like a lot of fun there for that snow day today. A lot of snowmen. We even had a snowbird. Yes, and I featured that on as well. You can see it there, Nathan Shutt News 9 on my Facebook page, as well as on X. If you're on X and Shutt WTOV, share some of those photos. And yes, not even snowmen, a lot of great snowmen, but actually a snowbird as well made an appearance. So props to those kids, made some great snowmen and a snowbird today with that extra time, getting out and enjoying it. And, certainly this, temperatures were warm enough with the snowfall, with temperatures hovering closer to 30. It did make for a wet snow. When we're dealing with wet to powdery, so you get that wet, heavy snow or a dry, powdery, light snow, and temperatures are a key to that. So, when the snow's falling with temperatures still near 30 or into the 30s, that's when you're dealing with more of a wet, heavy snow. When temperatures are closer to 20 or below, when you're dealing with much colder temperatures in the snow, then you deal with more of that dry, powdery snow. So, with us, those temperatures were still up, well in the 20s, closer to 30 during this snowfall, and that yielded more of that wet, heavy snow. And of course, it makes it a pain to shovel, doesn't it? It just makes it a pain with how wet and heavy it is. But on the flip side of it, it makes it so beautiful. We get that wet, heavy snow, and that's the type that sticks to everything. It sticks to the tree branches, wires. It just makes for that beautiful winter landscape. And certainly across the Ohio Valley, that's wet, heavy snow sticking to all the tree branches certainly makes for a beautiful view. Less than beautiful when you got to get out and shovel, though, unfortunately. But that dry, powdery snow just blows right off of branches, doesn't stick, but that wet, heavy snow can. as it does fall, stick to the tree branches, just like what we saw for this morning. As we do look ahead again, another round of snow showers Thursday morning, and following that, we'll look ahead to around Tuesday of next week. Watch for slick spots again for tomorrow morning, and then we'll likely deal with some more slick roads for Thursday morning's commute, although again, likely not quite as bad as what we had for this morning for Thursday morning. Thank you as always for tuning in. I appreciate it. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox Side, News 9 tonight at 11 for the latest, and as always, in the next edition of Nate at 8, which we will give you the latest on how we stand for Thursday morning, tomorrow evening on the next edition of Nate at 8. Make sure to stay tuned then for the latest coming up tomorrow evening for our next edition. Until then, have a great night. I'll see all of you on the next edition of Nate at 8.